Discord, the Lord of Chaos, the embodiment of disharmony, a heart of stone whose evil deeds put the very lives of many in danger. Back up. Question. Was he truly ever evil? Get your kid ass out of here. Hello, I'm Discord Jedi Knight, and if you can't tell, my favorite character in all of MLP is in fact Discord. A good comparison to him would be someone like the Joker from Batman. On the surface, a crazed lunatic with no real goals except to spread as much chaos as possible before Batman can put a stop to him. You would think G4, but his so-called goal to rule over Pastria isn't really to be a leader. He isn't the type of person who wants to deal with ruling a kingdom. No, instead, I don't think his so-called goal was ever to take over Equestria. I think it was always to spread as much chaos and enjoy himself at the expense of others, especially since the others always rejected him. Until Fluttershy showed him kindness and taught him the value of friendship. No, I mean Fluttershy, she reformed him. Celestia, I feel, only let him be reformed because if he didn't do something and then he got out again, there's no telling what he would do to the kingdom. And if all it took to change him was being kind, why didn't she do it instead of just order Fluttershy to do it? I'll tell you why, because she's... That's right, overrated. Made a video on it you can go check out if you hadn't seen it, but back to my point on Discord. What is his story? Well, while we don't get one on the way he grew up or anything like that, we do have one on his backstory, and boy, is it something hilarious. Today we're looking at the Cosmos comics from MLP. Who is Cosmos, you may ask? No, not that Cosmo, this Cosmos. She's the goddess of malice. Yeah, I know, big word. The definition of malice for anyone who doesn't know what it means is the desire to cause pain, distress, or injury. And what better partner for malice than Discord, the god of chaos? One day, while Discord is at home, a fireball lands in his yard, and it turns out to be, in his chaotic way, an attractive goddess. He soon gets to know her, and they date for a while, but the longer he gets to know her, the more he notices how selfish she is. Despite always being crazy for him, being the goddess of malice, she is the definition of a toxic relationship. Always being rude toward him 1 second, then rude to others, and then praising him as her love. She doesn't really love him, though. She only likes the chaos he brings, the pain he brings, and Discord isn't evil. He does enjoy chaos. He is disharmony. Yes, but harmony doesn't always mean good, and disharmony doesn't always mean evil. It's more nuanced than that. A fire in a forest is bad, it's chaos. It burns trees, yes, but it also rejuvenates the land with nutrients. Chaos is part of balance. It's chaotic to pull a prank, but as long as it doesn't hurt anyone and makes them laugh, then it's not evil, is it? Maybe, but it can bring something good, like a smile to others' faces. This is Discord's chaos, what he wants to be anyway. Discord is the god of disharmony, not the god of evil. He's a chaotic neutral being. He's the class clown. He likes disrupting things, challenging the norm, and being an outlier because he feels it's the only way to be accepted by others. I feel like this is his true backstory, one the fandom never seems to tell. And I feel as though just like real class clowns, they're only popular when someone needs a joke, and when things get serious, they often overlook them and treat them poorly. In other words, it's a situation of wanting attention and getting it in the worst way possible. By Naruto, for example. Naruto was always alone, and because of that, he sought validation and attention from others, becoming the class clown and pulling prank. Despite getting into trouble, he feeds off that, and I feel like this is most likely Discord's true backstory. By Naruto, he didn't understand what connections, relationships, and friendship meant. But he desired attention and wanted to be part of something. So when Cosmos gives him that validation, he joins her, no questions asked. But when he notices how she really never cares about him and just uses him, the moment he can, he tries to running into Celestia and a few others. He begs Celestia for her help. Celestia doesn't like him. There is no romance between them. She knows him as the class clown, a troublemaker, and wants nothing to do with him. But she agrees to help, and together they finally stop Cosmos, sending her to the stars and locking her away forever. In hope she'll never return, he chooses to become the Lord of Chaos, snapping away Cos' memory and taking the blame for her wrongdoings. Why? Well, because...
Learned 2 things that day. One, I was never going to let anyone see that they got to me.
And two?
If the world's only going to see a fox as shifty and untrustworthy, there's no point in trying to be anything else.
That's why he's the class clown. And if they're only going to see him as the class clown, he might as well be the lord of class clowns. Just like in Zootopia with Nick Wilde. Ah, you'd think that. But in all honesty, even with his backstory, I do think he deserves to be turned to stone. Perhaps not for 1,000 years, but he did do the crime. The old phrase, he made his bed, now he's got to sleep in it, really applies here. He had a choice, and he chose wrongly, which resulted in his imprisonment by the authorities, that being Luna and Celestia. And thanks to that imprisonment, it probably made him even crazier and lash out even harder when he escaped. But now, thanks to Fluttershy, he knows what true relationships are all about, romantic or not. Which, I'm sorry, but you know I'm a Fluttercord fanboy. When I first read this comic, this was one of the first MLP comics I read. By the way, or at least an official MLP comic. I did read some fan-made ones before. How he treats Fluttershy and is worried about her when she is struck down my heart. I love the pairing of these two. Oh, I tried him getting ahead myself. One day at a store, Twilight and her friends notice an odd gem at a market. They soon decide to inspect it further, not realizing that something is taking over Twilight's mind. And she now wants to collect the others. An odd vision of where they come from even appears to help their sir. Meanwhile, Discord is dealing with Fluttershy's demon bunny. When Fluttershy lets him know about the strange star and constellations, Discord is immediately, and rightfully so, terrified. Discord, after hearing about it and knowing what constellation is coming down, is frightened beyond all belief. I love it. Like, he's the god of chaos, what could possibly scare him with all his powers? Okay, besides the elements of harmony. That's right, his craze. When her star is smashed down into Equestria, she begins taking over the minds of Discord's friends, Luna, Twilight, Celestia. After they find more of her meteoros that hold basically gems containing her power, she needs someone powerful NOUFE to take over so she can come fully back to life and start swiping over her love Discord, who is terrified and wants to just run from his past. He wants to take Fluttershy, the closest person he's ever had, and just run away. Fluttershy, despite her name, thanks to many adventures with her friends, is brave and is there to stand and support Discord, who is scared of facing her. Especially when Cosmo is straight up jealous of Fluttershy and Discord and wants to change her into a butterfly, thinking she's just a pesky bug in the way of her true love with Discord. Look, ship them or not, which you should, Fluttercord is such a great pairing, both in cuteness and story-wise. You cannot deny how amusing it is when Cosmo is jealous of Discord and his friend, wanting him all to herself. But in the end, Discord fights back, telling her the truth. She was a rotten relationship who never cared about him and just used him for her own amusement. And I love the fact that he does this. The way they defeat her is by getting all the star gems that give her power and feeding them to Spike, thus ending her reign of terror for good. Powerless and needing somewhere to imprison her, Discord chooses the moon. I really feel like this is why Discord said in the show he doesn't believe in love and that stuff because the one time he thought he had it. It wasn't real, it was fake. He never had a real relationship, someone who actually cares about him and wants him to be the best he can be until Fluttershy. Okay, so that's the main story plot, but there are tons of great jokes and adventures with many fantastic cameos from other characters, like the Heart of the Forest, Capper, and even Cadence, Big Mac, and more that I didn't cover because I want you to go read it for yourself. I didn't cover everything, just the main plot points. I highly recommend this one. You should go read it, especially if you're a Discord fan like me, Zia. This is actually my favorite MLP comic, and for good reason. Despite not going into detail about Discord's whole life, I think it really sheds some light on who he is as a person. The fandom likes to depict him as evil, and while sure he did terrible things and deserves his punishments, he was never a bad guy. Just a misunderstood person who didn't understand anything himself and was never taught right from wrong. But in the end, he got there eventually. Yes, I like him as a villain, I truly do. But there's so much more to being a villain than just being a bad guy. In my opinion, just like Darth Vader, he was always a good guy who made the worst possible mistake. I love villains that think they're doing the right thing for the right reasons and end up being evil. We like to think evil and good are black and white. But I think there's a lot of gray in between, and I think this comic explores Discord's gray area. Though many may not like this comic because they want Discord to just be evil, that he must be the darkness to Celestia's light. But harmony doesn't mean good. It's more nuanced than that, more gray than that. It means balance, as does this harmony. The comic is a 10 out of 10 for me, and there are so many laughs in it that I didn't cover, so be sure to go give it a read yourself. With that said, thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and if you haven't yet, be sure to watch my last video discussing the somber comic. Yeah, I went way too deep with that video, but I hope you all liked it. Remember, my friends, don't seek validation in a negative way, and friendship is always magic.